Hey, gang.
Hey guys, yeah, it's been a while since you heard from either of us.
I believe so. Let's see. Today's discussion E3 2018, or as I like to call it, the new anime out that you guys recently seen. No game, no hype.
And no dice either.
I kid, but there was a lot of games I wanted to see, but not a lot of them showed up. And some of the games that did show up, that they did show off, didn't exactly have gameplay, so I don't count them either.
It's basically like a taco, but not enough filling.
Yeah, I would say compared to last year's E3, which did have a lot of fairly interesting things, this one was pretty ho-hum. It was pretty much standard E3, wait till next year, we'll get other stuff later.
Yeah, pretty shallow water was what we're talking about.
Yeah, how can I put it like this? I think after last year, which was basically like swimming in the ocean, having a great time, maybe having a crab nip us in the foot here and there. This C3 was like being in the little kids' pool getting splashed on with a water hose.
Water hose with like 10,000 nozzles.
Now you're talking.
So let's get right down to it and start drenching what's been good, what's been bad, and what's been ugly. Starting with the obvious first contender, EA.
There's only a few words that describe them. Betrayal. That's it. The only thing that I will note that they did have that was cool was the sequel to Twine and that one other game that they were actually funding through helping an indie studio make. Which I'm like, okay, that's actually one of the cool things you've done, EA. If you do that, maybe you might be slightly above Konami. Maybe one day.
On the other hand, if you're gonna keep making dubious practices like you've been doing for the past couple of years, no, I don't think so.
Albeit, on the other hand, people are actually hyped for Anthem, which to me is kind of... this might be BioWare's last chance at redemption. Because BioWare's record's been kinda...
Trash.
Yeah. With Mass Effect Andromeda releasing to mediocre, reviews and sales, and Stigma. Then you had Dragon Age 3, which was more of an apology for the second game, but didn't do as much as it thought it could. And of course, we can never forget about other things like, I don't know, Mass Effect 3, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Mass Effect 3, which required lots of DLC just to make the ending a bit more bearable.
Yep,
and even then, it didn't do much.
Nope, not really. So at the end of the day, it's EA, and also, no, EA, that's not Command and Conquer. Get fucked.
I would give EA a D, and that's being generous. No, that's being generous.
I'm giving them a D- only because those two games that they showed off that were indie based. Actually, they're the only ones that got cheers, if I recall correctly.
Okay, so yeah, moving on. I believe our next one is Microsoft.
Microsoft, while their third-party showings were far more interesting what they actually had to show, on their end, it was like, hey, we got a new Halo and new Gears of War. Why aren't you guys excited?
Because
on the other end,
Jeremy, I can answer that for you. Because they've seen it all.
Well, here's the thing. Remember when, first-person shooters used to be wanting to be Halo?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? Remember?
Oh, yeah, that was like so 2002.
That was like 10 years ago. Like 10, 15 years ago. Now, Halo is trying to be like other first-person shooters. And they wonder why it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And as for Gears of War 5, I think that just goes down to the fact that a lot of fans were kind of turned off by the fourth game with Marcus Phoenix's son, well, not being exactly a lightning character.
On the plus side, there were two very good reveals of the Microsoft conference. The first, Beyond Good and Evil 2. Well, people have been waiting for that for a long time.
I want an actual sequel, not a prequel.
But the biggest news, which also applies to those who had owned a PS3 but couldn't play it, Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition.
Which is not only just coming out for Xbox One, but it's coming out for PS4, Switch, PC, and your toaster.
In fact, it's going to have all the features of the PS3 version that was released in Japan and dual audio. Which
I like
makes
this.
Me wonder, that makes me wonder, though, since it's going to be dual audio, what are they going to do about the voice acting, considering all the troubles with unions and whatnot?
Odds are it's going to be very... They're probably going to do what they've usually done when it comes to, say, voice actors like Troy Baker. They'll just get Matt Mercer for it.
Yeah.
That's usually generally how it goes. Or they might have to revoice those lines and have the new voice actors replace the old ones. Which might lead to some manners that us Persona fans are very familiar with.
Oh, yeah.
But my only hope is that the game comes out solid on all the editions, and honestly, as long as it runs at 60 FPS on all the versions, I don't care, and I'm getting the Switch version.
And let's just say, finally, we can let the whole, not that one, beam die for once. It's been 10 years, and they're finally just saying, yeah, okay, this one.
Though, I would still kind of... I'd still like a re-release of, say, Tales of the Abyss. I mean, hell, I'd just like it on digital for Switch because... While playing the 3DS version's good, I still want a few issues to fix out, like how slow the world map is.
Okay, then, next up on the dock... Oh, yeah, well, there's one more thing, actually, for the Microsoft conference. Our first new Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer.
Oh, yes. It showed off a lot of cool stuff, especially Frozen, which oddly looked better animated by Square than by Disney.
Ooh, shots fired.
And then the little reveal at the end.
Let's not reveal spoilers out here.
Let's just say this. Did you like Birth by Sleep? Did you like all the things that you did in that game? Do you like getting repeatedly kicked in the dick in the heart area repeatedly? Well, let's just say the end of that trailer is kind of equivalent to that.
No, actually, I would say this much: prepare for an encore.
Yeah. So, and then with that, there was useless cause holding me back. Your life ends when you attack. Taste the blood, taste the fate. It's Devil May Cry 5, bitch. Yes.
Yep. I'm actually very glad they brought back Nero.
I don't mind. I think if, like, say, I'm hoping if they do what I think they might do. This is speculation, so I'm just throwing a dart at the board. It doesn't count. I think they're going to have the three characters have their own scenarios this time, as opposed to one, switching to the other throughout the course of the story. I think it's going to be like Resident Evil 6 in that way.
Also, I don't mind the fact that Nero has a robotic arm now, considering his demonic one got ripped off.
Presumably by Virgil. Though, one idea kind of occurred to me that maybe this might not be the same Virgil that we know.
Yeah, considering the last time we saw Virgil in the timeline, canonically, was when he was Nilo Angelo.
There's that, but who's to say that with the demons the way that they're designed, they kind of remind me of DMC.
Ooh. You think it's a kind of crossover with that continuity?
Well, think about it. He basically got thrown into... That version of him got thrown into the netherworld, so who's to say he didn't just fucking break dimensions?
Well, I mean, he could do that. You could do that with a sword. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, why? I mean, maybe he wanted 2 Yamatos for the price of 1 and figured, hey, I'll just combine the dimensions. Fuck you guys.
And by the way, Capcom...
It caused chaos.
Thank you. By the way, Capcom, thank you for giving us JYP as Nero again.
I'm also just happy that we got Ruben Langdon back, and the action is going to be in that slick 60 FPS again. Even with the Resident Evil 7 engine, I hear. Huh.
Interesting. But yeah, that trailer was pretty sexy.
They at least did show a lot of pretty good gameplay, and I'm happy with the possibilities that we could have with his devil arm gimmick, that they're going to essentially allow you to switch them out like the devil arms from like Devil May Cry 3 and 4.
But yeah, just between this, Mega Man 11, and another title, Capcom's been on a roll, redeeming themselves.
Outside Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, yeah. That maybe they're starting to learn, maybe they're not, but hey, this is a start.
Baby steps.
Then there was the one that you were hyped on.
But we'll get to that when we get to that. For now, let's move on to the next conference, which was Bethesda.
I honestly didn't watch it because, honestly, Bethesda doesn't really interest me. I'll be honest. They did announce a new Elder Scrolls game. Elder Scrolls 6, yeah.
And Fallout 76.
Which is going to be a MMO, kind of, but you could still play it in single.
But anyway, how would you grade the Microsoft conference? C+?
I would say, yeah. Though,
okay.
I think I found myself somewhat surprised and confused that most people thought that Devil May Cry 5, just because it's had it as worldwide exclusive, they all thought it was exclusive for Xbox One. No, it's for PS4, Xbox One, and Steam.
Okay, as for Bethesda, we can't really grade that because we don't know much about it, so...
Well,
meh.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people are going to be very hyped about, Elder Scrolls 6. There's no question about that. I mean, you know how many copies, how many versions of Skyrim there are?
I was about to say, at least it's not another damn port of Skyrim.
Well, I mean, hell, even like they had fun with that. Like, even Google had fun with that. Like, what was it? Having the Google Alexa play Skyrim.
Okay. All right. Next up, I believe it's Sony.
Sony's was interesting, but
yeah. For starters, they changed venues mid-conference.
Yeah, to more of a theater-like one. To, I guess to have a old-fashioned look. First, they had one for The Last of Us Part 2, which I kind of have mixed feelings for.
I mean, can you believe people are more up in arms more about a 10-second kiss than the rest of the gameplay? They're always focused on the smallest details.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the other side of that end. I'm kind of just mixed because the kiss is the first thing that we see. It's like they kind of blew their load early to me, and it seems kind of forced. That's where I'm kind of coming from on that. I'm not against it, guys. I'm just saying that I would like to have seen that maybe if I actually was playing the game, as opposed to that being the very first thing I see. I know that they did that because that appeals to the gaming media. Not going to deny that. They did that for the shock value.
That, and ironically, it was during Prime Month, which is right now here in June.
Which, again, I don't have a problem with it, but I just have to laugh that, it goes to Ellie kissing a girl to all suddenly she's murdering fuckers, and like 5 seconds later, I'm like, so is she Griffith from like Berserk?
Maybe she is. But anyway,
has a cool, awesome exterior, but on the interior, you're just like, what the fuck?
And then we move on to some more exclusives, like, say, Ghost of Tsushima?
Tsushima, yeah. Which now has its own controversy, which had to do with the fact that they had somebody that was playing a Japanese instrument, the shakuhachi, I think, or hachi, I can't recall. There was a big controversy because somebody called out the fact that, like, why do you guys have a white guy playing it? Could you find any Asians? I'm like, it's like, you guys aren't happy either way. The thing was, Sony hired this guy. They were entirely cool with it. They were in on it. And the thing is, Japan is absolutely cool when you reference their culture.
But not when you whitewash it, though, regarding to, like movies and whatnot.
Yeah, but this was a different thing.
I know.
This was because the fact there's hard... Like,
yeah,
the instrument itself is only mastered by maybe like a couple dozen people. And oddly, few of them are Japanese. A few.
Go figure.
Yeah, so it's just like...
but yeah, like I said, it's people making a big deal out of nothing.
Yeah, it's just like, why? I mean, I don't get it. But from what I understood from like a friend of mine, the guy I usually buy my retro games from, Connor, he was actually pretty interested in this. And well, let's see if I recall correctly, who is developing the game? I forget. Sucker Punch. God damn.
Damn.
That's a switch.
Yeah, quite. And see, there was also a new Spider-Man game announced.
That wasn't exactly announced. It was shown. It did actually show gameplay this time around.
And then we had the game Control, done by Remedy, who had done Quantum Break. Which was
that's it. A lot of people did say there was a lot of Arkham comparisons, though, which isn't wrong.
There was also finally a new trailer for Death Stranding,
which revealed nothing.
Very little. Typical Kojima.
Well, and then they go, look, there's gameplay. I'm like, he's going up a hill that is less textured than a PS1 graphical area. I don't think so.
No. And then we come to perhaps the biggest draw of the conference. A little trailer shows up where you're playing, looks like you're playing as a rat climbing up a wall. And you hear some voices.
In my head?
No, out and about. The rat goes to investigate, and suddenly the shelves start wobbling. The rat gets knocked off and gets inevitably crushed by the shelf. And then we see what the game is really about.
Resident Evil 2.
The remake. And I was happy beyond belief.
I wasn't quite so happy at first, I admit. Just because at first, Leon's model kind of looked janky. The first trailer that they did show, I'm going to say it sucked.
Well, you say it's janky, but to me, Leon looks a lot more human. He actually looks his age.
Now the second trailer, which actually looked like it was cleaned up and spiced up a little bit, and had gameplay, that was the better one.
Yeah, I mean, it is not only just an over-the-shoulder game like Resident Evil 4 and beyond, but also using the Resident Evil 7 engine.
Yep. Which, if you have, like, say, the upgraded versions of this console generation, you'll be able to run it at 60, while the default ones will run at 30.
However, they have said no VR for this one.
So that means... Wait, VR? Really?
No VR support.
Somehow, I'm not that surprised.
But yeah, basically what I've seen from the demos and whatnot are at E3 this year, the game looks massively different from the original. I mean, zombies barely are faced with headshots of all things. That's scary enough.
I will admit that I was kind of disappointed by the sound design when it came to the zombies getting shot in the face. Because I expected more meat. I want more crunch.
Yeah, that's true. Not to mention that at least they brought back the ECG for your health. That's a thing.
Yeah.
Not to mention that zombies are a lot more damaging.
Well, they have to be. You have much more maneuverability this time around, too.
That, and based on what we saw in the demo, some new puzzles were thrown in. A lot of very good Easter eggs thrown in if you're familiar with the lore of the series. And hey, Marvin lasts for more than one scene.
And there are bathrooms in the RPD.
I know, right? Bathrooms.
Which you can find a first aid spray.
But
Which is probably going to confuse a lot of new players. But still, I'm kind of happy with that.
But there's also the fact that it's coming out relatively soon, in just about 6 to 7 months.
And this is the part that pisses me off.
They've been tight-lipped for 3 years before finally unveiling the trailers.
But here's the part that has me pissed off. It comes out 4 to 5 days before Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, that's not quite a smart idea.
Well, here's the thing. Kingdom Hearts 3 had a reason why it picked 2019 as opposed to 2018 this year. And it was actually one I can actually get behind. Tetsuya Nomura and all his Methuselic wisdom and his truths, he actually asked retailers and such if, releasing the game in 2018 would be a good idea. They absolutely told him, no, just don't. And he had to inquire to why. If you guys check the release list from October to December, yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 wouldn't sell much that time of year.
No,
not as much as they would think.
But anyway, what interesting is the fact that when you pre-order the game, you get some special costumes and even a choice to insert the old RE2 soundtrack into the game. And by the way, one of those special costumes is Elsa Walker from 1.5. I know, right?
Holy shit, that's awesome.
It is.
Now that's a nice nod.
That's a pre-order bonuses I can get behind.
Yeah. Now this is the part where somebody puts in the gif of basically the Vince McMahon orgasm face.
At least if I recall, that was the case. But regardless, there is an option to get an Elsa Walker costume.
I wonder how they'll handle the zapping system, or if they'll do it at all. I don't think they will.
Actually, no, they won't. Leon and Claire will each have one separate campaign for their games.
Part of me, thinks
however,
that why couldn't
However, I have a feeling that the A and B scenarios are going to be kind of hybridized. It's in each of the two campaigns, somewhat.
Yeah, I can see that.
At least that's for what I can infer.
Though one thing I gotta wonder is with Resident Evil 2 remake. Honestly, if they said, "Hey, we're going to take a little bit more time to add this little one thing to the game," you guys might be surprised. You want to know what that'd be?
What?
Just put Resident Evil 3 in there too. Why
Nice.
not?
Yeah, I mean that is true considering that Resident Evil 3 does use the Raccoon Police Department as well as one of its locations.
It uses a fuck ton of locations.
No, I meant for Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You could build 3 easily off of 2, or hell, make 3 later as like a DLC like expansion campaign or something for like $20-$30, I think, or at least have it as a separate game for that much. I think that'd be okay.
Yeah, that'd be acceptable.
But actually, the game that I was referring to from E3 was Sea of Solitude. That game did look interesting. It reminded me of a lot of Gravity Rush's art style. Let's just go with that.
So overall, I would grade. There were a few other games I'm sure were announced, but anyway, I think I'd give Sony's conference, I would say, a B+.
I'm going to say about a C.
No, I'm gonna say it was better than Microsoft's.
Yeah, but I feel like Microsoft did, at least to their credit, they at least got their hands on some pretty good third-party titles to use for their conference. Not to say that Sony was lacking in that department, but still.
Oh yeah, and also Sony's conference they unveiled another Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer.
Yeah, which again showed off another world, which happened to be the Pirates of the Caribbean once more. And
this time, Sora actually has a matching costume.
And so now we're going to play Kingdom Hearts Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Also they announced a special Kingdom Hearts themed PS4 Pro with the compilations added in.
Yep. Which honestly, that is a, if you haven't jumped into the series or you've been waiting for the series to come out, that's a definite buy there on that front.
Yes. That's a definite buy-in, especially if you don't have a PS4 already.
Yeah, so.
Okay, moving on. I'm not sure what was at Square Enix's conference or Ubisoft's.
Other than essentially Kingdom Hearts, they only had essentially 2 games, but one's technically by... One is pretty much, let's see. One is mostly through Nintendo.
Octopath Traveler?
Let's see. Outside of Kingdom Hearts 3, there was no talk of Final Fantasy 7 whatsoever, not even a show of it.
No, was the game you were talking about Octopath Traveler?
Exactly. That game was actually there, but it wasn't exactly, given really... I don't think it was really given too much of a movie or video to show off or anything like that. But around that time, the demo for the game came out on Switch, which... I need to check that out. There was actually 2 other games actually that were of note. Nier Automata is finally going to be coming out for Xbox One, so they get to enjoy that. Yippee! And Dragon Quest XI, which got overshadowed due to Kingdom Hearts 3 and because Square Enix didn't even show up really.
Mm-hmm. And which brings us to the last relevant conference of E3, Nintendo.
Well, Nintendo's could be just some...
Well, first off, they did things differently. They decided to have a direct instead of the E3 conference.
Yeah.
For starters, they were showcasing, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee.
Yeah.
There was Super Mario Party.
Meh.
And they also announced that they're going to have a lot of indie games that they're going to support. Because there is one thing that Nintendo does well, is give lots of indie developers. If you look at
especially considering the Switch has been doing very well on that front, essentially now becoming the indie go-to device for anyone really. I mean, outside of what the PS Vita was doing last year.
Yeah, I mean, if you look on the eShop, whether it was on the Wii U, the 3DS, or the Switch, you can see there's plenty of love for indie games. Let's see. There was of course another look at Octopath Traveler for that. There was a couple other releases I recall. Fortnite's coming on the Switch. That's also a big deal for some people.
Fortnite's already on the Switch, and it's already done pretty well at over 2 million downloads, regardless of its quality, and it was free. So.
Oh well, shows what I know, I guess.
Yeah. So.
But overall, obviously, the biggest draw was, no surprise, Super Smash Brothers.
They did say beforehand that they pretty much put everything into Super Smash Bros. This year, and they were not fucking lying.
Yeah, first off, obviously, they only said they were showing off a small portion of what was to come from Nintendo. They're keeping the rest of the cards hidden until, I'm sure, future conventions and whatnot. Anyway, Smash Brothers.
Ultimate.
We've seen lots of rosters in the series, but none quite like this one. Because Sakurai, he's a fucking lunatic.
You son of a bitch!
Yes, he brought back everyone, even the third-party characters, which I'm sure was not easy.
No, I imagine the most difficult was Snake.
Actually, no, not really. Because he and Kojima are, I believe, good friends.
Oh.
If I recall, the only reason Snake got into Brawl was because I think Kojima wanted he wanted Snake video games. I think it has to do with his kids.
I think it was either that or something similar to like him talking to a Nintendo representative at a restaurant, and he kind of pitched the idea. I forget which the story is.
Well, that, and to be fair, Snake did appear in the NES on Metal Gear.
And on top of that, he at the time, before that, he also had Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes for GameCube. Are we going to see a port of The Twin Snakes for Switch? Don't.
Who knows?
It's not impossible. I only say that just because of the fact that we had. Let's see, what other game is Konami putting out right now? Zone of the
I don't
Enders
know.
2.
Huh. That's cool.
So it's not outside of possibility, but it's not exactly feasible considering that Kojima's portrait's still in the game.
I found it. The reason behind Hideo Kojima asking Snake to be in Brawl, his kids are fans and they wanted to see one of their father's characters in the game. Actually, he was going to be a Melee, but he couldn't be due to time constraints.
But on the plus side, though, the incredible plus side to this story, they got David Hayter back.
Yes, they did. Finally, yes!
Nothing against Kiefer Sutherland. It's just... Yeah. It's David fucking Hayter, okay? Motherfucker was Lupin the Third in Castle Cagliostro. I love this guy.
But yeah, not just that, but there were even with the huge roster of everybody coming back, there was still room for some newcomers. Like Inkling, for example. And not just that, but they finally addressed the whole thing about clones. They're calling them Echo Fighters now. And speaking of Echo Fighters, Daisy is playable.
And now Dark Pit's an Echo Fighter, as well as a few other characters.
Well, Lucina and Dark Pit and Daisy are the listed Echo Fighters, which means that the other ones that would normally be Echo Fighters are tweaked a bit.
Like so Lucina.
No, I'm talking about like characters like, say, Dr. Mario, Young Link, or Toon Link, or even Wolf. Because I think to be an Echo Fighter, you must have like almost a virtually identical moveset.
Though a disappointment that some people found was the fact that Knuckles is still a trophy, even though he could easily been an Echo Fighter for Sonic.
That's nothing compared to the people's reactions of Waluigi being a assist trophy. I'm going to say it right now. I'm sick of it. I know. Hate me if you want, guys, but I'm so tired of all of it because you just want Waluigi in for the memes.
To be fair, that's all he's good for.
Exactly. And he's an athlete, not a fighter. He was only added in the spin-off games just because Wario needed a counterpart.
True, but I think people want to see what kind of counterpart would mix well with like kind of a Wario/Luigi setup, which I can understand that.
But still, people just need to chill out.
But then again,
Waluigi's never going to be playable. Get over it. Although I am happy that Bomberman became an assist trophy.
You say that now.
No, I'm not, which is doubly heartwarming considering that his character designer passed away about 2 days before Ultimate was announced.
Though, if I recall correctly, it's the Bomberman of old, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. With
the OG Bomberman.
With the cross explosion bombs and everything.
Why do I have a feeling that the one from the new one will actually be the playable character?
Who knows? Not just that, but there are so many quality of life changes to the characters as well. Like, say, gauges for like Cloud's limit breaks or Robin's tomes. Even Villager using the pocket. That and just so many quality of life changes to make the fighters different. And not just that, but we had one last surprise from Sakurai because they thought it could not be done. But yeah,
it's Ridley.
Yes, Ridley finally became a playable character. You can shut up now.
Now, who would you want as a playable character in the new Smash Bros. If it was feasible?
If it was feasible, before I answer that question, let me address something else. Well, people obviously get so excited that they want just any kind of character to be in the game, especially third-party characters. Here's the thing. It's not that easy. You gotta go through legal loopholes in order to get it done.
That's true. Albeit some more than others.
Exactly. I mean, for instance, I highly doubt we're ever going to get Gino as a fighter because, well, Geno's owned by Square Enix, and that might be a little more difficult to get Geno.
But on the other hand, they still did manage to get Cloud.
Which is surprising.
So that might be the counter argument that I would predict.
Possibly.
But on the other hand, like, let's see. Come on. Come on, Facebook, cooperate with me, piece of shit.
If I wanted a feasible character in Smash Brothers, that's a very good question. Shantae.
Shantae's been asked and begged for, and I do agree her moveset would actually be quite interesting, especially with her transformations.
Mm-hmm.
Even though part of me would still want to have Risky Boots as a character in it.
Let's see. Anything that is closely tied to Nintendo as well.
Let's see.
Here's an idea. Maybe Neku from The World Ends With You.
That's not impossible, but at the same time, the realistic choices that I'm thinking of. Rex and Pyra from Xenoblade 2.
Yeah, that's true. Okay,
I mean, since we have the Ice Climbers back in this game, I think their dynamic would work pretty similar.
And hell, if you ever got Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, why not throw Dixie Kong into the mix?
Or just, hell, make her an Echo Fighter of Diddy.
Her moveset would be a little different considering she used her ponytail to hover.
Well, he also uses jetpack, so the only difference would be the aesthetic on that. Another character I could see is Labo Man from the Switch Labo. Where he's just made up of like 2 Switch controllers and the cardboard.
Let's see.
Another choice would be Rayman.
Oh yes, because they even had a trophy designed for him in Smash 4.
Yeah, so I can actually honestly see that one. Now,
but speaking of Smash 4, a little trivia here. I'm still amazed that in Smash 4 we got Ryu and his theme. Yoko Shimomura composed that remix.
Yuko Shimomura, if I recall.
Yes, she did. I told you.
Yeah.
She actually got to remix a song that she had made 24 years. Well, back then it was 24 years ago.
Yeah, I would say that.
And on an off-topic note, I loved her rendition of the Final Fantasy theme in 15.
Yeah, that rendition was actually what drew me to buy the game the first time around.
It moved me to tears, man.
Another character that I can actually really see, Crash Bandicoot.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
If not him, Spyro. Yeah. Crash, just because of the fact I think he has a moveset that just generally works, because I mean his spin attack would be no different than, say, Sonic Spin Dash, really. Yeah. In that regard, and his long range option would be the Fruit Bazooka launcher. So
and up B?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Or hell, he could use as basically his triple jump or whatever. Just basically rocket jump, literally. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be. But yeah, just to be honest, actually, there aren't that many fighters that would actually be that feasible or easy to get, really.
Another one that I think is also likely, but that's only because of, well, actually, one of the games I mentioned, Cosmos from Xenosaga.
True.
Well, with her being in Xenoblade 2 and all. Though, part of me actually honestly thinks that they'd use the iconic Mark 1 model from the first game. Because my personal opinion is, if she used her Mark 4 Blade 2 incarnation, she'd be more broken than Bayonetta. But if she wasn't a choice, I could see Kite from Dot Hack or Hayachi from Tekken.
Heihachi.
I'll be honest. I just want to see the data during an HD. I'll be honest on that front.
Well, you never know. I mean, who can say? And no, we talked about how Smash was the big draw of Nintendo's Direct. Now it's become the big draw of this commentary.
Yeah, and unfortunately, because of that, other than that, for Nintendo, there was not really a lot else announced. Because they essentially said that last year's E3 was essentially just them breaking from their tradition and being like, this is what we'll get later on, kind of thing. And I think that hurt them the most.
This time they're keeping their cards closer to their chest for most titles.
As they usually do. Because as they say, we don't usually put the game out until we think it's close to release. Which is okay, but, you know, you guys could have begged Atlas or Platinum for a trailer or something. I would have been happy with that. Or, I don't know, showed a little bit more than a logo for Metroid Prime 4. You know, just a thought.
Well, who knows?
There was a lot of no-shows on Nintendo's side, which is probably why I think this E3 is probably the most ho-hum.
Yeah, I give Nintendo a C.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. If it wasn't for Smash Brothers, I would have probably just given them a D. And then, ironically enough, that pretty much means that Microsoft won the conference. That depresses me. But they still won just because I feel that they did at least give it the old college try.
Yeah.
While Sony did, I think they made people pull a lot of teeth just to do it.
So yeah, overall,
as a whole,
this E3 was rather boring by comparison.
I mean, there was no announcement of anything of Shin Megami Tensei 5. There was nothing on Metroid Prime 4. Let's see, what else was there? There was nothing on Bayonetta 3.
Or Shenmue 3.
Oh yeah, there was Fire Emblem.
Well, Fire Emblem Three Houses, that's right. There was also that one for Nintendo.
Which, you know, I know that some people are kind of divided on the fact that now the characters are attacking with the armies behind them. I'm like, guys, Advance War's been doing that shit forever, so what are you fucking talking about? This actually makes sense.
Because they're so used to other games. They're used to regular Fire Emblem. They don't make those kinds of comparisons, you know?
Again, it still makes me wonder, where the hell is Advance Wars?
Yeah, I know. It's like, what the hell?
Or hell, have an Advance Wars character be part of Smash Brothers. There you go. I mean, hell, throw them a bone at least.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, this E3, like I said, was rather boring.
But alas, other than that, like, a lot of the companies were pretty, I would say, this year somewhat restrained. Outside of a few entries. Like, easily... Oh, let's see. Where are you, my friend? Where are you? Oh, yes. Easily the most American game ever made in Japan. Metal Wolf Chaos XT. Yes. Now that was what saved E3 this year. Easily the most American game ever made by having the U.S. President of the United States fighting against the Vice President in a super armored mecha tank or a Metal Gear to save his country. God damn it.
And here I thought Abraham Lincoln fighting with steam-powered robots or whatever, codename Steam was cool enough.
Other things that were announced, like Battletoads. Fucking
oh, that's
Battletoads.
right, Battletoads. How can I forget that?
I think if I recall, Killer Instinct has been doing actually okay lately, so I think there was a fairly good reason considering the Battletoads are in that game, if I recall correctly. I I'm just wondering, is this going to be like the arcade version, which was a brutal beat 'em up, where there was blood, guts, and skulls and shit, or is this going to be like actual console Battletoads here?
Who knows?
Because I'm terrified for the gamers of Xbox One on this when they find the game. I can't get past the turbo tunnel. But I gotta admit, the only reason I'm playing this game is to see if I can get to the Dark Queen.
Or even worse, even worse. What if Turbo Tunnel was 3D?
Wait, the Turbo Tunnel is the Dark Queen. So has that tunnel been run so hard and fast that nothing can get through it normally? Oh, God. Sex jokes.
Okay.
I love them.
Okay, I think we need to rate it before things get way out of control.
Okay. Atlas kind of had a mediocre showing with nothing but Persona 3 and 5, Dancing Moon and Star Night. Albeit I was more disappointed by the fact that both it and Catherine Fullbody for the Vita version will only be digital only, while the PS4 versions get physical. Because the PS Vita's physical and essentially comes to an end next year in March.
Alas.
God fucking speed, PlayStation Vita.
Yeah, they gotta run.
You were easily the greatest handheld portable that no one ever knew. I can only hope that the hackers, and as well as the modding community, make your slumber a restful one. God fucking speed.
And with that, I think that ends our overview of E3.
There's some other stuff. Let's see. Doom Eternal, albeit I was actually trying to play Doom on my PS4, but I don't know, a 34 gigabyte patch kind of rendered that moot. Let's see here. There was a lot of games announced by, Limited Run Games that were indie games that were for Vita, Switch, PS4, whatever. Which means that you're probably never going to fucking see them on the store shelves.
Mm-hmm.
Or on their website, because they have a tendency of disappearing like... like NES Classics, which will be coming out in about a week or two from now.
Wow.
And I'm going to shoot myself in the face because I can't stand those things. So enjoy that fun. Let's see. As for other things that I should note, let's see. They had Ori and the Will of the Wisp, which is again proven to be promising on Xbox One PC. Also, as a guy that
Neo 2.
Yeah, that worked on M2R, so who's helping with that one. So that's cool. Rage 2, they're putting some surprising amount of effort because nobody cared about the original Rage, but who knows. Probably my biggest disappointment out of this one, well, there was actually some other good things, like Yakuza 0 and Kiwami will be available for PC now in August and further on. Albeit they have de novo support.
De novo?
Yeah, it's a DRM.
Oh,
not the greatest thing in the world. But they're coming out for $20 a piece. I was kind of looking forward to seeing more on Team Sonic Racing, but that's a little more vague than anything.
Refresh your memory, but de novo is kind of like what microtransactions, right?
No, it's more of an invasive software that gets in your computer and shit.
Oh dear.
Most people don't like that. Let's see. Of all things, Activision got together with From Software to do Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which is going to be a Dark Souls-esque game for both PS4 and Xbox One PC, which is kind of surprising considering this is Activision. But Activision seems to be a mixed bag altogether, especially with the release of the Spyro Reignited trilogy. And, with the ports of Crash Insane Trilogy for both Switch, Xbox One, and PC. Albeit, I'm probably going to wait until it drops price on the Switch just to find out if it's good or not. Right. My probably favorite third-party publisher, Exceed, showed their usual stuff like Senran Kagura Burst Renewal, which I'm okay with, and Sakura of Rice and Ruin. Though my biggest disappointment this year was the fact there was no Trails of Cold Steel 3 announced for localization. But, I'm not going to bug Exceed on that. I'm not going to be like the rest of the fanboys who, I swear, in every video or every little thing on Facebook that they make, they'll ask, is Trails of Cold Steel 3 a thing yet? Not yet. And that game has a bigger script than pretty much Trails of Azure or Trails of AO. And that's a pretty big fucking script. It's going to take about a year or two, guys. We're in for the wait.
Learn patience if you had any.
But by that time, I believe the Crossbell arc will be fully fan translated by that time. So, at least we'll have something to keep us distracted. Well, outside Dragon Quest XI, and maybe the new Tales of game that they're hinting at through Bamco. There are other RPGs in the sea, kids. So, as much as I have a fucking raging erection for Trails of Cold Steel 3, I want the game to be done right. I want it to be treated well. Unlike what happened with, say, Tokyo Xanadu and Ys 8 to a lesser extent. With Ys 8 having a literal translation, a botched PC port that's still in fixings. Albeit the Switch port has actually come out pretty promising, actually. A lot of people have said it's pretty good. Albeit it still runs at 30 and just better than the Vita version then. But Tokyo Xanadu, they only retranslated it for the PS4 and PC version. The Vita people that, like myself, got fucked. And the ass. Thank you, Access. Thank you very much. We also appreciate all the DLC packs for Blaze Cross Tag Battle. That could easily made it as good as Smash Brothers Ultimate. You numb fuckers. Oh yeah, Dragon Ball Fighters is coming out for the Switch too.
Woo.
But overall, that was my biggest disappointment, but one I expected.
Yeah.
Hey, you?
Anyway, I didn't have an opinion, really. I'm just saying that next week's my birthday.
I know all too well.
Yeah.
And also, Robert's birthday is around the same time, I believe.
Oh, sweet.
I do say.
Yeah, I'm hoping
Seriously,
you would actually call. I was hoping you'd call on me for like some stuff that if you want to help with a co-commentator for. No such luck yet.
Well, right now I'm also finishing up the editing of me and Eisen going through my old videos of my number 9, the 4-parter that I did last year, because of technical issues with him doing my number 9 in the first place.
You poor bastard.
Originally, I was going to have him play through the entire game, but considering that the problem was his recording software was experiencing some massive lag and FPS drops. Also, the game was leaking memory like a motherfucker and making the computer really drag on its ass. Yeah, it wasn't going to happen. So, as a compromise, we decided to do my playthrough instead.
All right, then. I think with that being said, that brings this discussion to a close, don't you think?
If there's anything else I could think of talking about.
Um, I'm still trying to work on videos, people. Don't worry,
Nope.
I'm not dead.
Nope. Nope. I got really nothing else to talk about. It's just
Yeah,
all
yeah. Also,
uh
yeah. I'm not dead, people. I'm still trying my best to crank out videos. It's just I get distracted a lot. I get stressed a lot, and that really hampers on my motivation.
and also his work is really on a bum schedule because the fact it also seems to be in deliberate contrast to mine. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why we haven't really been able to do as much. Like,
But
you
rest,
know,
is, but rest that also getting a new computer really set me back.
oh yeah, I know all about it.
So yeah, that being said, we might not have fresh runs of anything until I get perhaps a new recording software and whatnot. So please be patient.
Or until you find that motivation somewhere, or, wait until maybe you get that, that game console that you'll probably consider getting to record with.
That too. But overall, people, just please be patient.
Yeah, so as a whole, I'd like to thank you for listening to us and such, and have yourselves a pleasant morning, afternoon, evening, and anything in between, including for
Twix in
those special
between.
people in that 13th hour. We
Wait,
make exceptions for people like you.
wait. I hear the clock.